and in today's video, we are actually going to be talking about something just a little bit different today. Today we're talking about a Netflix show that was actually a Netflix remake of an old TV show known as, that's right, Lost in Space. Hello guys and welcome back to Dylan's Little Hobbies.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.
What can I say about the show? Yeah, I don't ever want to be lost in space, but I really did enjoy this show. I really did enjoy the story, and you know, I don't talk about it too often on this channel. You know, I do like a bunch of sci-fi stuff, you know. I'm not just into Star Wars and Marvel. I'm actually really into the science fiction and questioning whether or not something is real, something is possible. I used to do that a lot growing up as a kid. Some of my favorite shows was actually not the cartoons. Yes, I watched a lot of cartoons, but some of my favorite stuff to actually sit there and watch was stuff like how it's made and the science stuff with Williams. You know, I just enjoyed so much of the Science Channel, actually. And you know, just learning stuff about Mars and planets and out there in space, it really makes you think, well, what could be out there? And then you watch those shows that try to answer the possibilities and give you theories on what actually could be out there. And it's really all inspiring to the point where somebody actually takes that and turns it into a possible storyline. And we know that there's a lot of stuff out there. I really love H.G. Wells' books because of that. There are so many great examples of just stuff that, while you probably could never understand, it really is interesting to think about and really makes you think, wow, could that be possible? How different would that make the world? Like, I mean, like the Time Machine, and there's so many others, The Invisible Man. There are so many other great books, great stories, and in today's video we are going to be talking about one of them, and that is Lost in Space. And Netflix actually has a kind of a wide category when it comes to these type of interesting space thriller, I would call them films, but TV shows as well. And kind of gotta be in the mood for that kind of thing. You gotta kind of be into the genre of those kind of films, otherwise it's just not going to be for everybody. I can understand that, but it is really for me. I really love that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, you have to waver your disbelief a lot when it comes to shows like this, because as much as they try to make it as accurate within our laws of physics in our world and stuff like that, yeah, you kind of have to take a little bit of disbelief, because as much as they try to, you know, make sure the laws of physics work in these shows compared to what our real world works as, sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. However, that's kind of the fun part of these shows, and I really enjoy that. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about Lost in Space. So what is this show about? Well, it's about humans going into space and getting lost. Specifically, one family of humans that left space. They're going to another world to humanize it, to make it a livable place. It's the question of, you know, in you know, it's really odd that we actually now are starting to get that question here in the real world as well. What's the purpose of staying on this planet? You know, don't you want to go to space? Wouldn't you want to go somewhere else? And the historic value of being the first people to ever like live on Mars and stuff like that, that's really tempting and stuff like that. But you also gotta think about the fact that if you leave your home, you'll never be able to come back to planet Earth. And I don't know, for me, as much as I would love to see Mars and see what's out there in the universe, Saturn, Jupiter, and so many others just beyond the galaxy, I also would never want to leave my home. I would never want to, I never even want to leave my house, let alone the planet. So that's a huge part of the show, is like, should have they even left? Should have they even left planet Earth? That's a huge question within the show, and I really enjoy that. And so they go into space, and Will Robinson is kind of our MC, but it's all about the MC, the main character's family, all about the Williams family, and they're going to space, and you know, they're dealing with some problems within their own family structure. I really enjoyed the family aspect of it, because while the family does at times fight and argue, they're still a family, and they still work together, especially being in space, being out in an environment that you can't control all the time like you can on Earth. A lot of things happen, like asteroids hit the ships, they end up landing on weird planets, a lot of crazy adventures, and they all have to work together as a family to get out of it. And I really enjoy the family aspect of the show as well. Now, eventually they land on this one planet, and Will Robinson finds another life form. He finds a robot. And the question becomes, well, this is an alien tech, this is an alien robot. Should we trust this alien robot? And of course, we actually find out that while this robot is really nice, there are millions of this other robot that are quite evil. And the reason why this robot turned out to be nice is because Will Robinson actually helped it. And it's really interesting because while it is, you know, a robot, a mechanical form, you might think, okay, it's not necessarily what AI, it's not built off of human, because AI would technically be built off of humans. AI is usually built by humans, but this robot, you know, is technically kind of an AI. It learns, it processes things, and one of the biggest things that I love about it is it's never shown kindness before it meets Will Robinson, and after it meets Will Robinson, it starts showing its own kindness, and then eventually by the end of the show, people are starting to learn that if you just show these creatures some kindness, and you don't treat them as just mechanical machines that are evil and trying to kill you, if you actually show compassion for them, they'll show compassion back. Which that's it's really interesting because it's a robot and it's AI, but if you look at it in the real world, you know, people don't necessarily treat other people like they're actual people, but if you actually show some kindness to them, they'll show that kindness back. And that just happens in the world, and AI is becoming more and more advanced, and unfortunately, eventually that's going to become the future. The question is, will the AI actually be able to be kind to us? Can we show it kindness? Can it learn from our kindness and be kind back to us? That's something that's majorly scary. And while, yes, I know AI is here, we have AI already, it's not at that point where it's taking over the world, and it will eventually soon. I just hope it's not taking over the world aggressively. I hope it becomes, you know, peaceful, you know, but, you know, only time will tell. And let me tell you, I kind of don't want to be alive to see that. I hope by the time AI is ready to take off and become mainstream, like it's already kind of mainstream, but what I mean is almost pretty much take over the planet, I hope I'm not alive for it. Because one of the scariest things to me is actually humans messing physics of the world. Like, think of it, we turned the wolf into a dog. We've already messed with biology. Now we're messing with our own biology. And now we're creating AI that if AI gets smart enough, AI could actually make their own biological form similar to what happens in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And like, I don't want to be there part of it. One of the scariest things to me is humans trying to play God, even though that's what a lot of humans tend to do. That's just me though, you know? Didn't mean to go that deep with this, but that's what shows like this really makes me think of whenever I watch them, and it's just a fun thought experiment, all of these shows. And you know what, if it's actually in a show format as well, I can sit back with a cup of popcorn and watch them and just enjoy the story, take in the story, and then think about whether or not that's actually possible within our own world. That's just a fun scientific experiment. Let me know down in the comments below if you like doing things like that, or if I'm just crazy. So my favorite character of the show would definitely be Debbie the chicken. I mean, how could it not be Debbie, am I right? Debbie is amazing. But no, my actual favorite character would actually be Dr. Smith, because I really end up liking her character throughout the story. You know, she's not supposed to be there. She had a rough life, and yeah, she's kind of the antagonist of the story. She's kind of a villain, but she's at first out for herself, but she then starts understanding that if she has to survive, if she wants to survive, she has to work with other people. And by the end of the show, she really does tend to change her view, or her point of view on the entire world. Like, you know, she always thought that the world was against her, but by the end of the show, even though, yes, she does have to, you know, repent for her crimes, because she does commit a lot of crimes in the show, she does understand that at the end of the day, you know, she eventually does become kind of part of the family, and she does understand that they have to work together to survive. She doesn't have to be in it out for herself. She can actually put her faith into people. She can put her faith not only into Will Robinson and the Robinson family, but she can put her faith into even the robot, even species that are not even of her own, you know. So I really like Dr. Smith. She ended up being my favorite character of the show, which, big shocker, am I right? The villain ends up being my favorite character of the show. I just have a villain problem with shows, because all of the villains end up being my favorite characters. I mean, you got Darth Vader, you got the Joker. There's so many villains I end up liking. Definitely highly recommend it for anyone who are into sci-fi type of stories. At the same time, it's got good family drama. It's got good teen drama. But it also really is kind of heartwarming with all the family stories as well, that's kind of piled into one big adventure with the robot. I really do enjoy Lost in Space. Let me know down in the comments below your thoughts about the show Lost in Space. Thank you guys for watching, and I am out. Bye.
Subscribe to Dylan's Little Hobbies right now.